used to boast about our land, saying we have racial integration. We told the world that our country is an example of love, peace, and racial harmony. But all that's now a fake. The country club is soon made us wide awake. But that's a drop of water, my friend, in an ocean of discrimination. So please, won't you tell country club? And what must you tell them? Master, they master. We want no racialism in our countries, no prejudice or color. Must divide with this land, must belong to everybody. So tell the Portuguese club to cover our island, to hell with Junction and Chinese Association. These lands only has room for us West Indians. We want no division. Master, day, master. Country club is joke, there are many more. Our banks give us loans based on our color. You get certain lawyers to defend you in court. The color of your skin or prestige is your passport. Massa in hotel, drinking rum and whiskey, and he living swell. And the poor man catching his tail, and if he thief to live, they throw him in jail. So please, won't you tell them massas? I want to hear you say, Massa, day, Massa. Amen. Too much nepotism going on in these islands, and a Father Christmas reminding all them Syrian, and they won't spend a penny to help Kaiso and Stephen. Won't you tell the Ministry of Education, stop lining up our children in hot sun, giving flag to some Englishman or Canadian? I am making fun. Master, day, master. Let's face the facts, brother, look around. Some youths have jobs, others have none. To get a job, poor girls have to sin. While in most stores and banks you see one race and same skin. Rich men getting away with cockfight churches, gambling on Harvest Day. And police in your tail whole day if you only play wacky and wicked. So tell the police that's discrimination. And what is my message? Master, day, master. Amen. Mister, don't you call yourself no white man or no Syrian. You're not a Chinese, Englishman or no German. Everyone living in these lands are all West Indians. In all them big shot hotels like in Hilton, there is the price of drinks to keep out the black man. But people go still buy them folks and bring in the rum. We are making fun. Master, day, master. Governments in the Caribbean must now put a stop to all of this sin. It is time to stop massa. Everyone must be free to live and enjoy rights here. No more exploitation. Have respect for labor unions. Pay good wages and benefits. It's time that massa should take his exit. So please, won't you tell the authorities? I want to hear you say, Smiley. Amen. And tell newspapers all over the Caribbean for printing comics like Handbrake and Papa because they degrading the dignity of the black man. And we in the Caribbean have got to know that we are colonial leaders must follow the revolutionary thinking is too early. Let us stay up, son. Master Day, Master. Governments in the Caribbean must now put a stop to all of this sin. It is time to stop massa. Everyone must be free to live and enjoy rights here. No more exploitation. Have respect for labor unions. Pay good wages and benefits. It's time that massa should take his exit. So please, won't you tell the authorities? I want to hear you say, Smiley. Amen. And tell newspapers all over the Caribbean for printing comics like Handbrake and Papa because they degrading the dignity of the black man. And we in the Caribbean have got to know that we are colonial leaders must follow the revolutionary thinking is too early. Let us stay up, son. Master Day, Master.
Oh, yes. Good evening. What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Massa Day must done. Massa Day. We ain't making fun. We're not making fun. Massa Day must done. This country, this region must be for all its people. And what? They must have respect for labor unions. Have respect for labor unions. Because Massa Day done a long time ago. Massa Day must done. Must done. We've been saying that all the time. Massa Day must done.
Country club is joke, there are many more. Or banks give us loans based on our color. You get certain lawyers to defend you in court. The color of your skin or prestige is your passport. Massa in hotel, drinking rum and whiskey, and he living swell. And the poor man catching his tail, and if he thief to live, they throw him in jail. So please won't you tell them masses, I want to hear you say, Massa de Massa. Amen. Too much nepotism going on in these islands. Carnival and Christmas, reminding all them Syrian, and they wouldn't spend a penny to help ISO and Steel Band. Won't you tell the Ministry of Education, stop lining up our children in hot sun, waving flag to some Englishman or Canadian. I am making fun. Massa
was done. Amen, 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 amen. Massa Day must done. We not making fun. We on a mission. We've always been on a mission, but we're intensifying the mission. Good night, good evening to all of you. The song there, the voice there of Dr. Hollis Liverpool, the chalk dust, Massa Day must done. Too much nepotism in our country, too much bucking down and shoving down and assaulting the dignity of the black man, assaulting the dignity of the black man, saying it as only he can. The mighty chalk dust, Dr. Hollis Liverpool. We're coming, you know, we're coming. Good evening to you, Mr. Beresford. We are almost there with our show on Caribbean music as politics, music as political discourse. We're almost there.
Calypso, calypso, calypso music. Oh, God, calypso, oh, God,
Here comes the West Indies. And when you're facing the generals, nearly every ball is a funeral. And when we battle, brother, go and put your men on the boundary line. And if you give we a liquor, that is merely a hiccup. Look, you win the little battle, you lose the war. It's the same result every time. Everybody sing. Here comes the West Indies. Here comes the West Indies. Them rude boys gonna get you by degrees. Here comes the West Indies. I tell you now, here comes the West Indies. Here comes the West Indies. Them bad boys gonna bring you to your knees. Here comes the West Indies. Special request to the Trinity posse. And what about the Guyana posse? And what about the Jamaica posse?
Yes, our weekend lineup there. We are launching the Reggae and Calypso 101. Reggae and Calypso 101 on Saturday. Keith Beresford, please pad up. Please pad up. We are launching on Saturday, same time, 7 p.m. And then on Sunday at 6 p.m., it's our cricket show. So on Saturday, Reggae and Calypso 101. And on Sunday, West Indies Cricket 101, going with our politics during the week. So we're getting there. We're getting there. We launched the cricket show this past weekend, and it was a blast. The numbers in some regards exceeded our numbers during the week. My God, you know, they say sometimes our people are tuned out. Tuned out? Our people are tuned in. It's the leaders who are tuned out, you know. You know, when you're talking about action, political action, and every time you all come on this program in your hundreds, that's political action. It means that we are connecting with you and you are connecting with us. And out of that connection, that gelling, that rubbing up together comes Politics 101. Comes Sherrod Duncan's program, comes Mark Benschop, comes Nigel London's program, comes Rickford Burke and Kidaki. All these programs is really political action because our people are in motion. And we're showing the established politicians how you do it. There must be a synthesis of leadership and followership. And it's that synthesis that comes in the form of political action. How are them Guyanese people doing? They're taking all kind of... Nowhere in the world, you don't wake up a morning and 10,000 people come on the streets and say, no, it's a process. The teachers say, air to the leadership. Go on strike. The leadership know when they call the strike, the teachers will be there. And the teachers know that when they're there and they look around, their leaders are there. When they see Coretta McDonald standing up there with all her power, they know that that's the leader that they can trust. They are in motion. They are in motion. It is the coming together. The official opposition can't do that because there is not enough connection. You can't watch black people getting their house licked down, getting their sons beaten up, getting the young women being spat upon, and go and tell them, well, black people suffering, but the Indian people suffering too, you know. You're not connecting with them. Stoops. I get in my house licked down and you telling me about Indian. At some point, you got to go and talk to the Indians about what they are suffering. They're suffering. Like I said, when you don't pay the Indian teacher well, you are hitting at that individual ability to provide for her family or his family. But when you don't teach, you don't pay the black teacher well, you're not just hitting that individual ability to help the family, to feed the family. You're hitting at the community because there is not enough money to put in their community. So when you hit the Indian teacher, you're hitting the Indian individual, not the Indian community. When you refuse to play black teachers who make up 80% and more of the teaching fraternity, you're hitting them individually, but you're hitting the black community. I don't want to hear PNC leaders walk around and talking nonsense. Masade must done. That is why we're not getting juice. Because the leader watching a set of black people with tears in their eyes, blood on their skin, and telling them other people suffering? What kind of fool is you? I don't. I am finished with that. And I'm giving notice. I'm giving notice. I'm fighting the opposition because we're fighting a common cause to get rid of this dictator. I'm warning those PNC leaders who go about not paying attention to black people suffering and talking nonsense instead of addressing black people suffering, leaving black people on their own. And it's not the whole party, it's not the whole leadership, but those who are going around and fudging the issue. When we are finished removing the PPP, we're going to deal with you all. I have begged for young Figuera for writing that stupid letter. And I beg for you because he's young and he come up in a party hearing the nonsense. And so he repeats the nonsense. I think he's a good guy. But I hammer him so that he won't do it again. It's the same way when Sister Gita start talking about condemning Ogunse, I call her a slave catcher. I love that sister. But you must know when there are issues, step aside. Move apart. Move apart. Then you fight. And I call her a slave catcher so that other slave catchers will not come out from the hole. And thank God, they didn't. And Brother Jermaine, certain issue, that new issue. Them there's 10-ton issue. You and me, the 10-ton thing yet. And so I'm warning the PNC leaders, no, I'm fighting you all now. I want, when this history is written, the history of this period, it must say that black people were being pummeled, they were being hammered, they were being killed, they were being starved. And I, David Hines, stood with them at the risk of losing crossover votes. Are you telling me the life of Orrin Boston and Quindon Bacchus is worth crossover votes? So you can't be full throttle about black people suffering because you fear you're going to lose crossover vote. Massa Day must done. Massa Day must done. There are two tasks before us now. We got to remove this government, so we got that election. But we also have to stop this government from beating up on black people, to some extent beating up on poor people, but mainly the beating up on black people has to stop. Or else, election day, there ain't going to be black people to go out and vote for us. I'm making fun. I'm not making fun. This dilly-dallying and playing around got to stop. Brother Norton came out. He made a clear statement last week. Give thanks to him. He got much more to do. He got much more to do. The others who are beating around and sliding around and going around are calling on all you know. Say where you all stand. If Quindon Bacchus' life means nothing, say it. If you all couple votes that you are seeking across the fence, illusionary in most cases, if that is more important than Orrin Boston, let you all tell me no, so that I separate myself from you. If a couple crossover votes somewhere illusionary mean more than the Mocha people land, it means more than what they're doing at Peters Hall. It means more than what they did at Hillfoot and Wismar Mackenzie and on the seawall and in front of the hospital. You all tell me no. David Hines is clear. No amount of crossover votes, no amount of crossover votes is more important than the lives, livelihood, and dignity of the black man, woman, and child. I ain't making fun. Master Day has to done now. And that's where I stand. If you all want to go for your crossover votes, and ignore the black blood that is flowing in Guyana, let me know, because I ain't with you all. And as I said, I'm fighting you all now. But when we done what we fighting for, I will remind black people that when they were bleeding, you all were talking about crossover votes. I ain't making fun. Massa Day must done. Amen. Amen. Good evening to all of you. I think you all are ready to roll. We are ready to roll. We are ready to roll. Oh, Karen. Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Thanks so much. It is the synthesis. I am not saying crossover votes not important. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm asking, are 200 votes more important than the life of Quindon Bacchus, than the life of Orrin Boston and Peter Headley and the numerous black men and women who are being killed? Come on, Amanza, I want to hear from you. I love you. But you can't beat around the bush anymore. If you want to be our leader, you have to speak with our voice, think with our mind, march with our feet. Brother Risedale, I like what you say on Labor Day. The teachers must take the street. You're coming to come. You're coming to come. But I want you to make a clear statement. Where do you stand? Where do you stand on the dignity and the life of the black man? I don't want no but. We're going to deal with but later. Good evening. Welcome to Politics 101. My good sense, my good sister, speak the thing, Dr. Hines. Mr. Norton needs the support. He will get the support from me. He's getting the support from me once he is clear that he is not going to trade the lives and the dignity of black people for something else. And he has made it clear last week where he stands. He made it clear. I'm waiting on the others. I'm waiting on the others. And I'm calling them. Risedale, you come in. You make some small steps. But I want to hear a clear statement. Amanza, I don't know if you're running, but whether you're running or not, your name calling. And if your name calling, you can make right with our people. No more. No more beating around the bush. If I got to fight a one-man fight on this issue, and I know it's not me alone, I know I ain't going to fight in one man, but if I have to fight as one man, I fight in this issue. It's too much. It's too much. I've never cried in my life like I've cried over the last 4 years. I've never. And the crying must stop. And I am saying the PPP is going full boot because it feels that the most powerful organization that black people have invested in is dilly-dallying on black people issues. The day the PNC stand up and say, stop it, it will stop tomorrow. I am telling you that I know that. Sidney King and Burnham in the 60s said, stop it. And it stopped. To this day, they call Kwayana all kind of racist because he made it very clear that we cannot go into independence with an Indian government that is prepared to slaughter our people. In a little booklet he called Genocide in Guyana, in which he documented the genocide against black people. That's the kind of black leadership that I want. I don't want you all going around and talking nonsense, pushing you all out here as if black people, what's wrong with us? Are we getting leper? Are you always frightened? Frightened? But when it comes to Indians, if you're here at your mouth, like when butter sliding off from hot frying pan, when it comes to talk about Indian and Amerindian, when it comes to black people, Master Day was done. Master Day was done. Let's go. I think we're ready. You all gone into 4-figure now. And that's time to bring in my guest. My brother. Good evening.
Greetings.
Good evening.
As well. Thank you so much for having me here with you, Dr. Hines. And
I hope I've not offended you.
By no means. You've certainly brought a quite refreshing and heartening emotion to me, and I'm certainly one who, I guess, throughout the program, the viewers and others will know my position on these matters. I am certainly overjoyed to know that I do not stand alone. You have brought great relief to my mind. There is still hope for us as a people.
Thank you very much, my brother. We expect Mark Benschop to join us later on. Mark is a busy man and so on, but he'll join us later on. Brother Nigel, we haven't talked a lot, but let's start today. The teachers, you're a teacher. You're a teacher. You are a teacher. So this thing is not theory for you. It's not theory. The teachers have embarked. They have resumed their strike. Today is the first day. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Put what they're doing in larger context for our people.
Thank you so much for asking. And they say teachers never retire. So they would have been out of the profession and not being paid. I still am one. And I passed by some of the schools today, and I was certainly encouraged here in Region 10 to know that the teachers, probably because of how much they suffer, they understand the cause. And I would not doubt that others across the nation understood the cause, especially with what the PPP would have presented to them at Congress, to show them that your fight and your struggle is just a joke. And they have responded. I've seen schools where all of the classroom doors have been shut and there's no one in the building. And that speaks volumes to the mentality of our people. They're getting it. They understand now that they are faced with an administration that seeks to destroy their mere existence as a union and as a people. And that reality has begun to hit them. And I say again, I would like to think that it was concretized at the recently held PPP Congress, where they showed the teachers that your strike action was a big joke in our eyes, and we can make a mockery of all of you, because after all, they didn't think the teachers can respond in the manner that they did. So I am seeing here, and I'm hearing from teachers, I speak to quite a few of them, and in engaging them, they are adamant that this administration will show the necessary respect to them according to their profession, not their individuality. The profession as a whole must be respected. And secondly, what is even more heartening to me is that they understand the threat against their union. So they know, and they've seen that this PPP administration intends to attack the heart of the GTU and the core of their existence. And as a result, they are prepared yet again. I say to all who are hearing me, yet again. There's not a one shot here. They're coming out within a few months yet again to say, we are prepared to stand against you one more time. And I'm so happy to know that I can be numbered among those who will stand with the teachers and anyone else who chooses to stand against the tyranny we now face in our country. There's no other way to put it. This is tyranny against the working class and against those who do not matter to those who think they're important.
Pastor Apostle Nigel London here tonight with us. And, I got calls yesterday from my circle of teachers that some of them I mentor, some of them whatever you call it. But I got calls from them to say, Dr. Hines, the strike started yesterday. Got the children that stopped going to school from yesterday. Yesterday, some of the schools were half empty yesterday, and the children started. And it is that spirit. Now, Pastor London, why is it? You heard my theory, but I want to hear your theory. Why is it the teachers are able to do what they're doing, but the formal political leaders are not able to do the same thing?
I have seen the potency of track records, of keeping them. And people are very unique in how they function. People observe over a period of time how those who say they're leaders respond to their needs and their crises. And for as long as the person can relate to the fact that when I'm in trouble, the one I look to as a leader, the ones I look to, they would stand for me and with me. Those individuals are often more inclined, the teachers that is, and all those persons, to respond to a call from those who they say lead them, or to stand with those and say, well, we support you. We may be a bit apprehensive and a bit cautious, but we support you because of the track record you presented to us. The recent track record of our political circles in this country, it shows that there's a lack of determination to stand in the face of oppressors of their supporters and say to those oppressors, you're not going to touch another individual unless you touch me first. And this reality has hit me painfully so, that we have got apologists and those who are so cautious as to not offend those who may have some secret for them of some sort. I don't know what it is, but there seems to be in our political arena, our governing arena, which includes the opposition, the official opposition, there seems to be a great degree of caution in dealing with matters that affect even the masses who support the APNU AFC coalition. This has to stop. And I'm not saying that there are individuals who do not stand up and stand out and say, we're going to defend your cause. I'm speaking to those who have the ability, if they maintain a certain track record like the GTU, to have thousands of people follow them to say, we are going to now resist the oppressors. We're going to now stand for the cause of the poor and the needy. We're going to now represent ourselves against those who seek to destroy us and our very mere economic and social existence. And so what you find happening here is that our political circles have become so thin-skinned and so weakened that they don't want to offend probably their parliamentary friends and colleagues. And I would like to stretch it further to say, and maybe this will offend quite a few, I really don't mind, that there is, to my prophetic knowledge, those who are benefiting from the cookie jar. And so when you have a contract that you can, or contracts that you can have through a cousin or a friend or a brother, then you can't say certain things loudly, because Jaglio could trace exactly who it goes to. And they all know it. And I have to call it as it is. So persons cannot be brash and just plain spoken and forthright as I can be, or as you can be, because if they do so, then I remember in 2015 when he had a file on his desk when he hosted Jaglio, that is, a press conference. He was sorely upset. He was mad to know that he lost. He lost. It wasn't the people who lost in his mind. He lost. And he pulled that file like a typical, I don't want to say the word in this broadcast. And he said, I have in here names of people who I give land to, so it was his land. Mm-hmm. And he said, if you all provoke me, I'll call all of your names. Mm-hmm. That is what they fear up until today, because the question is, how many other names are in that file? And how many other names were added to that file over the period of time up until now? It's just a disgrace to us as a people.
Nigel London here. And look, we want to make it very clear. We're not fighting the PNC. It's foolish to fight the PNC. It's foolish. The PNC is the strongest party.
Right.
And the PNC has leverage if it uses it. It's nonsense. There are certain things the PNC cannot do. They cannot even dream to do, because the PPP will stop them immediately. And the fact that you all are sitting down, they're sitting down allowing the PPP to walk all over black people, and then making it look as though it's the people who are weak. People are never weak. They're never weak, because every day of their lives they're fighting. Of course, there are always the few who are willing to sell their souls, but they are a tiny, tiny minority. Look at it here, 1,742 people live on this program now, live. And you are telling me our people not ready? They're being ready. They're being ready. If this program is a testimony of the readiness of our people, that is their ability to tune in. There must be something that I am doing that Brother Nigel London is doing that has drawn them here. And I'm saying the PNC can get 100 times this. 100, because it has the capacity.
And permit me, I don't normally do this interrupting, but I must, Doctor, because persons perceive that when I speak, or if you speak against those who lead the PNC, you are against the PNC. Or you speak against those who lead the PP against the PPP. No, this is about ideologies, experiences, and reality. The reality is that I am seeking to have good governance in my country. It doesn't matter who is governing it in the context. Just give us good governance, which includes a good and healthy opposition. This is the reality. So if there is an underperformance on the part of the opposition, I have a right to say that it's affecting me, because it is affecting me. When I can have an experience, Dr. Hines, where I live in the hilly sand and clay region, clay belt, I live here. I ask for lodging here. I born here. I belong here. My navel string bury here in reality. And I would have me to see that Linden, not a soul in Linden. You hear me? Not 2 or 3. 0 people in my community, where the hilly sand and clay belt region is, do not have a license to mine sand. This is not by accident.
Wow.
This is serious here. This is an indictment against the opposition and the PVP. How can you tell me that Lindeners who have equipment and all the rest of it cannot have a license to mine sand, which would help the administration in housing, because we can level hills and so on and have people build houses there. They want to cripple us as a people. And I must sit back and fold my hands and say, well, if I speak against the opposition who don't represent me, then I'm attacking the PNC. No, I'm attacking poor governance. That's what I'm seeking to. If tomorrow the PNC shows me that they're prepared to stand and fight for the interest of those who support them, I would say you're governing well. If the PPP shows me tomorrow that they're prepared to step down from the horse and humble themselves and treat Guyanese with respect and regard and have us eat from the same pie, I'd say you're governing us very well. So it's not a side taken for me here. It's what is right and what is proper. That's what I stand for.
What is right and proper, and as you are speaking there, we are joined by none other than Mr. Mark Benschop. And I know he brings with him all 40,000 of his fans and his viewers. I've left a spot for you there, Mr. Benschop, so that you can squeeze in your 40,000 people. And I want to say, Mr. Benschop, that you and I have a mutual friend who is not a friend of Mr. London. So I just want to warn you, behave yourself tonight. Mr. Benschop, how is the boycott going?
First of all, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your invitation. I was tempted to clap back at your comment, at our mutual friend. Good night to Dr. London as well. I say doctor because these days it's just floating around the country just as is, and people just don't get a hang as to what it really. So take that as a compliment. Dr. David Hines, thank you so much for inviting me. Every time you invite me and you send me that envelope, it gets bigger and bigger. Thank you so much. I say that because I don't want Apostle to get jealous that you actually send me an envelope and you don't send him any. So in terms of the boycott is growing, it's getting bigger, and it's getting better. People have been clapping back big time. They have been clapping back in Brooklyn. They start to clap back in New Jersey. They are going to clap back in Atlanta and other places. So this clap back is going to even hit to Guyana, even up in Linden, my hometown. I hope people are clapping back. I heard the apostle mention earlier that the schools are shut down, they're closed. Kudos to all of the teachers. And I want that, we all expect that to be the case throughout the country. Because as you have said, Dr. Hines, and lots of other folks, including the apostle, enough is enough. Now is not the time to sit down on the fence, 1 foot here and 1 foot there. I recall as a little boy growing up on the quarantine, when you sit down on the fence, things happen. They have a guy, and those of you who are from the quarantine, maybe around Alnis, Philippi side, a man by the name of, I can't recall whether it's Rajabek or one of the guys. They were sitting in the fence, and the fence, something happened, and you know what happened? Right down. And from that day, we were calling him Tierme, whatever it is, Tierme. But I'm not going to say it here because I don't want anybody to clap back at me. And so the boycott is catching on. The people who are affected, the business people, they are feeling the squeeze. Thus far, they have not apologized to the community, and they're making things bad for them because the protest is going to spread. It's going to spread not only in Brooklyn and not only by those targeting those businesses, it's going to go to other establishments because in a struggle, there is no holding back. Whether it's family members, whether it's friends, if you want to sit on the side of the oppressors, well, then you have made that choice. It's time that you feel the squeeze. And we don't want community leaders or some activists trying to dilly-dally on the issue. They want clap, but they clap it with one hand. But I had a very bright uncle on the quarantine who dropped out from nursery school. And every time he would say this, Harry, and he thinks that is something big, he said, hey, one hand man not clap. I want those individuals to, if they are listening right now, and if our friend Rickford Burke is listening right now, Rickford, one hand man don't clap. Don't dilly-dally on this boycotting. It's either you say boycott, don't dance up and spin wrong and do like you're waltzing the Tennessee walls and you spin wrong like a guy from Linda named Disco Monkey. I'm sure you see the apostle gonna laugh. He knows Disco Monkey. We don't want Rickford Burke to pull a disco monkey on us, waltzing and spinning on the dance floor. Call it as it is, Rickford. You've been my friend for all these years. Call it as it is. It is a boycott. Don't ever be afraid to say boycott. I heard you earlier, Dr. Hines. Oh, you're calling out on those who are aspiring to become leaders. They must stop dilly-dallying and say it as it is. This is a boycott season, and we must never be afraid to say it. Jagger is not afraid to say boycott. They have been boycotting for all these years. Irfanali is not afraid to say boycott. Why do we want to do the Tennessee walls? I don't know. Come on. Boycott.
Apostle London, where do you stand on the boycott there in Brooklyn?
And I'm happy that you've asked. I'm so glad to have my friend here, Mr. Benschop, because I stand very clearly on the right of every person to express themselves and to and to also propagate that thought process. It goes both ways. The right given to anyone to say how they feel is a human right. And I stand wholeheartedly on a principle that says if ever anyone shakes the hand of, embraces, and shows any degree of friendship towards people who are oppressing me or seeking to do so, I would mark you as my enemy. I hold that with all seriousness. And so anyone who can allow the likes of Pindon Bacchus, who Ali, I know, would have seen the video of policemen running in the street while school children were there. That's how desperate they were to chase and fire shots in the midst of a little school, of 4 school children, 5 of them. And he couldn't condemn that. Priya couldn't condemn that. If you could tell me that you can see that happen and then be silent, and more than anything I say, we support you or we with you, you are my enemy. And if you are transacting or conducting any form of business, I would not support it. And I have every right to say the people don't support it because you're supporting an oppressive person. Now, that individual who owns a business has the right to say, well, don't support London either. No problem. Because it's your right to say it either way. What I find funny is that persons are so hurt that one man is saying or 2 men are saying, don't support these people. what is so dangerous, and I must address here even the representative for Region 10, one of them, in Mr. Figuera. Figuera wrote a piece that up until this day, I cannot even the broadcast address him because of how angry I am. To know that a man who lives in Linden, this is not some Burbetian talking here. He's here. He was here when the people had the bulldozers knocking on houses in Amelia's ward. He was here when they locked people out of the hospital. He was at the bridge with me in the group standing. He knows of our struggle. And when he can be here to say, he also knows that there are businessmen whose business have been shut down in this region because they don't support the PPP. And then he say, you have to be so cautious and we have to talk. What's there to talk about? People don't want to talk to me. So I am in full support of anyone who has the right to say how they feel, and I would not reduce Mr. Benschop from having that right. He has a right to say how he feels about the matter. And I am certainly upset, very angry with people who can allow Irfan Ali or any other of these creatures to just pass by them as though it's okay, you get a pass because you call president. No. When he said that he didn't want to pay a week, so he allowed black people in Moko to be stepped on, they like pigs in the mud. No, you can't tell me after that you come smiling in my face. It's all, let's just have it go by. No, it doesn't work like that. It would never work like that. When they accuse Apno FC of rigging an election, okay, then the same Irfan Ali, the same one, couldn't even pick his teeth, as your people say, when for local government, people from the people were signing for dead people. And Jagyo confessed to that. And Irfan didn't say, well, here, so far we're seeing rigging coming up in our circle. When the young lady from Vice News exposed or caused him to expose himself. Sue, Ali didn't say you have to go, boy. You can't be here saying that you talk to businessmen outside of an office that's official. These are all things that those in Brooklyn failed to confront Irfan Ali on. Let's not talk about the Exxon deal and the $211 million dollars that just vanished. And the boy got 0 days in jail for robbing us of our money or allowing us to be robbed. And that those folk in Brooklyn did not raise one such issue with Irfan Ali. But now you have an issue with Mark Benschop saying boycott you. I would say 10,000 times louder, because you are my enemy if you shake the hand of my enemy or you embrace my enemy. If you embrace my enemy, you are my enemy, period.
Pastor Apostle London here tonight, along with Brother Mark Benschop, weighing in on the boycott, the ongoing boycott in Brooklyn against those businesses that open themselves to welcome in the president. I don't care whether it's the president or the leader of the party, it's the same man. And he has his intellectual fingers on that trigger that killed Orrin Boston. His fingers are all over the trigger that killed Quindon Bacchus. His fingers are all over those bulldozers that bulldoze the homes of black people. And you are telling him, we believe in you? Well, if you believe in, go on, so. And when you go on with your business. Because we are saying to the people of Brooklyn, buy your patty and your pint tart from another black Guyanese business. You may have to walk a corner, but walk that corner. Because you're not taking money out of the community. You're just shifting money from those who have shifted away from the community. And you're shifting money to the loyalists in the community. Mark Benschop, if they nail you on the cross, know that there are others who are standing by to take the nails out as they put them in. And I'm one. Go with the boycott. Go with the boycott, because it's the righteous thing to do. We are not mice. We are men. We are men. We are black men with the seed of Akabe and coffee. And if they could have stood up against the might of the Dutch, the might of the British, these here today, we are shying away and talking about taking bread out of black people mouth. Who the hell is taking bread of black people mouth? Is the government of Guyana. What they're doing to the teachers, and you are telling Mark Benschop that he's taking bread out of black people mouth. One, some man. One. Never to come back. Benschop. So, were you surprised when you saw the names of the PPP Central Committee, and worse yet, when you saw the names of the PPP executive, that 1 million black people are not on there? Were you surprised?
Before I answer that question, please, just a matter of caution. I know it's your show. I noticed when you say Guanso, that Apostle Polimac, because then people don't know what Guanso means. Like Guanso, right? Guanso, I saw Apostle like, oh, like this is
No, Pastor know what Guanso is.
Oh, yeah.
He get $20 then he. He get $20 then he.
And that's exactly what needs to be said. Guanso, these people, we've got to chase them out of our communities because they don't respect us. Look at what they're doing to our people for the most part. And the time has come for us to stop sugarcoating this thing. I have a bunch of Indian friends out in Queens, and I say this, who have called me, particularly an elderly Guyanese of East Indian descent, called me and she says, I'm not sure if she's watching your show right now. She says, Mark, I am in tears right now. And she gave me 2 songs to play, 2 old Hindi songs to play. And she says, I'm in tears right now, and I cannot sit down and allow this thing to happen. The ice pass black people, as she says, in Guyana. And not only that, look at how Irfan Ali jumping up and dancing up and winding up and skinning up himself. She said when them in a little picnic grow up, she went to Yolanda Cinema, I believe that's what, at Albion, and also Rup Mahal Cinema at Port Morant. And she said, you couldn't do them winding up thing. Them said, look how you're vulgar. Look how you're vulgar. She says, look at today, at her age, to see someone who sits there as a president of the country, winding up and dancing up and sprawling up and skinning up and thinking that that is acceptable. She says, my heart is bleeding for my country. And that is what's happening in the country. People's hearts are bleeding because we have a bunch of jokers. Look at Irfan Ali. Look at how he behaved. That is unacceptable. And then they try to justify it by showing Granger doing a little. I don't know who danced like this except Granger. But even if Granger is dancing like this, it's acceptable. But who wants to see somebody who sits there as quote unquote president of a country make himself a clown show? Had it been, let us say, Aubrey Norton who did that, they would have had a bunch of things to criticize him about. Or David Granger. Look at the vulgar. That all them can do, them only can wind up and dance up. But then they find this to be acceptable because a crass like Irfan Ali, wind up and dance up, doesn't have any good interest in the country, can't govern the country properly, can't figure out where the 50,000 jobs he promised the people, where he's going to dig it out from or clap them out from. He can't address his election promises of free education at the university level. All these promises, correct the GPL issues. As soon as they got in there, all manner of problems upon problems upon problems. They spoke about rig elections. They've been calling on the PNC. Where are the coalition? Show are your SOPs. Show are you. That was a chutney and it was a soca song all throughout the country. Show me your SOPs. Where are your SOPs? Every time the coalition go to court, who blocked the court, the elections petition? It's the PPP. So come on, guys. I notice they got a trench crop out there in the audience. Only look at them joker. Look at them joker. If I want to see joker, check out Amjad Khan and Tuntun, brother. Check out Amjad Khan. Bara Jagdev is Amjad Khan, who used to play the crook in all those movies. Well, Bara Jagdev is the crook of the PPP, and Tuntun brother is Irfan Ali. That is what's happening in the country. But yet we must accept that as governance. And because we refuse to accept it, they're labeling us all sorts of names. Abia this, and Abia that, and are you this, and are you that. That's all they can say. And so getting back to the SOPs and the elections petitions, every minute them are run up the court step to stop it because they do not want to open the SOPs. So all of the world that most already know that they rigged the elections, all of their supporters will get to see who really rigged an election by. They know that they have rigged the elections. They know that there are thousands of fraudulent votes, hundreds of thousands. And many of those votes are fraudulent. And so they want to stop their supporters from seeing the truth, seeing the evidence. Speaking of your question that you asked now, and that is why, thank you. So goddamn, people really story long, right? But I was just getting to the rigged elections, the rigged 2020 elections. So now we're with them about coalition rig elections and PNC rig elections. The party that has the most history and evidence have proved them of rigging elections is the PPP. They have been rigging elections from God and since Thy Kingdom come. They have been rigging elections upon elections upon elections. They've been rigging, and they've rigged the 2020 elections. So getting to your questions now. Question: am I surprised of that list? No. That is because Jagdeo and his cabal, they sat down at Freedom House and they set that elections so that it can be rigged and put those names that you guys see there, all those Pakus, all those trench crappos names on the list. That's right, Emma, Pakus. All those Pakus, as Emma said, Paku. That is what, so Dr. Hines, you asked me a question, a list filled with Pakus. A bunch of Pakus that don't mean well for the country. They're a bunch of Nimakaram. They're a bunch of Koras. They're a bunch of Catfish. They're a bunch of Katahar. They're a bunch of Tere Kabur, Nanika Chodor, Kalandeke, and the rest is known. That is what they are. They're not people who mean well for the country. They're not patriots. Some of them are convicts. Some of them are pedophiles. Some of them are all sorts of things. Some of them are thief men. Some of them are criminals. They are shake down people for money. These people can never mean well for a country. That is why our country is tearing apart. That is why our country is crying right now. And it doesn't matter of your religion. It doesn't matter of your ethnicity. People on the quarantine are crying. People at Blackbush Pole are crying. From Lesbiolan to Maibikuri to Yakasari. People at Port Morant are crying. People at Little Africa up Corriverton. People at Little India up Corriverton are crying. People in Buxton, them are crying. Them a proper cry. People at Belladrum, people at Ituli, people at Kokwani, people at Bartika, people at Letem, even people in Camp Street Prison right now, and Lusignan Prison, and Timeri Prison, and New Amsterdam Prison. Them a cry right now. And while they're crying, you get $1 trillion budget and people sleeping on the pavement. People are starving. You don't have money to pay the teachers. You don't get money to pay the nurses. You don't get money to pay the policemen and women. But come Christmas time, you're trying to make people paku by giving them a nice package. Oh, a Christmas package. And then you go wrong about by the officers' mess, and all the policemen, them take Paku in and then clap up. Yay! We got to stop the brainwashing of people throughout the country. Enough is enough. And those who embrace the oppressors, and I say those who embrace the oppressors, they've got to feel it. And if they got to feel it through economic standpoint by boycotting them, so be it. Clap your roti somewhere else. Take a piece and dash it to somebody else that is in the struggle with you, that want a better Guyana. And those of us who are fighting, we are not fighting because we want a divided Guyana. We are not fighting because we want to see one ethnic group on top of the other. We want to see all Guyanese being treated equally, whether it's Auntie Vashti up at Peters Hall that they're discriminating against because she's the old person of African descent. She don't get sense. Them go just throw little crumbs at her, and her neighbors must enjoy the good life with 60 million, 50-something million, and you're only giving she 10 million, all because of what she looks like. And then you want to call that fairness? And then you get some people out in Brooklyn, welcome Irfan Ali, the oppressor, into your business. And you say, we respect you. We love you. Come on, baby, shake it, baby, shake it, baby, shake it. Nope, enough is enough. Who vex?
when Mark Benschop is on the roll, you know not to get in the way. Brother London, under normal circumstances, I know you won't bother how many black people on the PPP Central Committee and the executive. That is their right. If it's an Indian-dominated party, you expect that Indian people will dominate the executive and the Central Committee. Same with the PNC, if you think. But because Jack Dio says that the PPP is the most multiracial party, and they win over black people, and they love black people, and if you're going to see black people in the Congress, well, we can't help but look and watch. All right? First of all, we didn't see plenty black people at the Congress to begin with. I hear my friend Rafi Dev on another program last night say, well, a lot of black people didn't go because you just got farm party groups and they don't have black party groups. But next Congress, poor Rafi, knows better. And I think my friend should spend his time dealing with the profound things that he's capable of dealing with, but than to make excuse. But my brother, when you saw that 2 or 3 black people on a 35-member Central Committee, zero on the most powerful thing, what goes through your mind?
Guyana's reality.
There you go.
Truth. The PPP's exposure yet again. And to boot, what not bothers me, but it really upsets me to know that there are those who would like to, or they pay to, defend the PPP and the wickedness of these people. To know that the likes of Dharam Lal could be numbered among those who are deemed the most popular and who should lead the PPP. I'm not going to allow that to slide at any given time in my life. Dharam Lal, of all people, is above Anil? No, hold on, man. Hold on. If you present to me a list to say these are the results, and you have Dharam Lal ahead of Anil Nandalal, ahead of Frank Anthony, ahead of Donald Ramatar, it says Vinaya Prasad, and these people, it speaks volumes to what the PPP represents. Because at the top of the list, I want one of them, they haven't come on my page to say anything thus far, and it tells me that they're very free to do so, to tell me how and where Irfan Ali could get more votes than Jagdio at any forum in the PPP. Man, you all need to rig with sense. And how can Irfan Ali get more votes at any forum in the PPP? Jagdio, they may want it to be presented to us as though, okay, Irfan is president, so Irfan is the most popular person. At the same time, you have Mustafa, Zulfikar, who can hardly read a sentence. Look at what your leadership looks like. And then to say that I'm racist, you're racist, Mr. Benschop is racist, and anybody speaks in the PPP is racist. And I told them that before Congress, that when you say that, you're going to destroy yourselves. Because for Jagdio to say that if ever you speak against the PPP or you look like us, you're racist, then Phillips has to be racist, Kwame McCoy has to be racist, and every other blackface, we call it, you have to be the same because they don't recognize you as a person. I said it as well before Congress, that when Jagdio says certain things about African people, he seems to forget that he has them among him in the group, claiming to be loving towards them. And so when you look at the executive, when you look at there being 0 African descendants deemed capable of running the PPP, you've shown us exactly what you really are. You are racist to the core. Now go to the UN and tell them that here is the list of our central executive body. Here is the list. And the list shows you that the decision makers of the PPP, the key decision makers, are African descendants. Show them that list, that you can't even find one of us among y'all who's capable of leading the PPP. But you could find Edgil to go to an African descendant and tell her that she has to receive a document and he knows better, and sign as having to receive it without even reading it thoroughly or seeking legal counsel on it. Just sign and say you got it. When Nigel knows very well that for you to take anybody's property under the law of eminent domain, you must first of all satisfy the one who's going to be hurt, that I'm going to compensate you enough to encourage you to move. That's basic law. And those dunderheads would allow him, because he can't fit in the executive body, the top tier of PPP. Now you're a bottom feeder, according to what Chedi said. You're a bottom of the ladder dweller. So go out in public and face the African descendants and let them cuss you. That's what you're good for. I'm waiting.
Apostle London here tonight. Mark, we should ask them to show us the SOPs.
Yes.
They're not going to show the SOPs. They're not going to show, because most of the PPP supporters, and we see some of them, they are one track, and you check their mentality. It's always about something sexual in nature, and something is wrong with these guys. Something is definitely wrong. But in 2017, Dr. Hines and Apostle and all your viewers, in 2017, the list of executives, decision makers of the PPPC had two persons supposed to be of African descent. The late Dr. Roger Luncheon and somebody who is intellectually invalid by the name of Clinton Collymore. Those were the only two back in 2017. In 2024, there's nothing, no African person. That is why at the Congress, if you noticed, at the Congress, Barra Jagdeo, the dictator of Guyana, had some stooges of this so-called civic, asked them to stand up, because he knew that all of them are basically stooges and they're of African descent. They have no value in the PPP. But at the Congress, he wanted them to stand up so that people could see that there's a little thing within the PPP, knowing very well that they rigged the elections not to have any person of African descent. Well, they have basically hustlers. But if you notice, though, a lot of these people that they run into communities, Linden, they embrace some of those persons of African descent. Most of those guys saw the picture and they run away. They bolt. They say, "Bye, I mean, I stay here." Well, not Linden people song like that. They say, "We ain't gonna stay here because these people only want to use we buy." Just imagine these people want to use we. Let me get no value for we. You go quarantine, the same thing. So they have lost majority of the persons of African descent they try to bring within the party. The party is a racist party. That is why they go after primarily persons of African descent to destroy them, destroy their business, destroy their families, every single thing they do. And people like us, they're not going to like us. They want to paint us as though we are the bad guy. But I'm tired of trying to say, "Oh, I'm not a bad guy." I speak the truth. We all speak the truth. And if by speaking the truth in the eyes of people like Barajak, the corrupt criminals like those guys, see us as the bad guys, well, then we must be doing something that is right. And you know what is hurting them, right? Is the clap back. The clap back, raise their bumps. So every time you clap back at those PPP guys on Facebook. Jack Dale is feeling the pressure. He said, "Oh, y'all go out on social media and fight back." Even though they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars with NCN, NTN, this TV, that TV, this radio, that radio, it is not working for them. And they're asking themselves, why is it they're not winning this battle? They're not winning this battle because people are clapping back. People's eyes are open. And when those who are in Brooklyn want to embrace the oppressors, all because of a little piece of land, all because of a little thing they could do for some foundation they get, and they're expecting a little $2 million, $1.5 million, that's Guyana money, crumbs.
Yes, yeah.
They are selling their community out. They are selling their people out for just a little crumbs from the PPP. And those who are selling out their community and the struggle must not be trusted and cannot be supported. And for those who want to sit on the fence and say, oh, is we people business, we can do the. They weren't singing that song though when they called back then for, and quite rightly so, boycott against hits and jams. They weren't saying that
That's
it's
right.
black owned business. Let me don't boycott them. All of them who are hollering now, the few of them who are hollering now, oh, we can boycott Brooklyn because it's we own. They weren't saying that with hits and jams. They weren't saying that with Kashif and Shanghai. So the question is, what make them saying it now? Why? And you know, those who are against the boycott now, but who were in favor of boycott before, right, are hypocrites. And I say again, boycott is not a curse word. It's an effective tool working against oppressive regime. And Guyana has an oppressive regime. And if it takes boycott to do the trick, well, boycott it is. If Rickford Burke is watching, good night to you, my brother. Do not be afraid. I noticed Dr. Hines laughing. You might say, man, leave Rickford, leave Ricky alone now. Rickford, do not be afraid to say boycott. Don't twist it, don't turn it, don't try to dress it up like a salad. It is boycott. Simple as that. Let's not pussyfoot.
But boycott, our people are saying here in the comment section that what we need is unity. What we need, why black people always have to prevaricate, why black people always have to edge, always edging when it comes. Our leaders must stand together. Pastor London, there are serious times ahead of us. They are beginning to talk about election. We understand that fighter jets are roaring over Guyana. And you and I have been saying over and over again, this is not the Guyana of our grandfather. This is not the Guyana of our fathers and mothers. This is not even the Guyana when we were small boys. This Guyana is a new Guyana. Fighter jets, America fighter jets, roaring over Guyana. Your response, your thoughts.
Thank you. That is why David Granger is not the president of this country today.
There you go.
Let's deal with it as it is. That is why he's not. Because from all indications and all this information I received, he refused to allow them to do such things, including establishing military bases and so they can have propaganda and everything else paid for Venezuela. But beyond that, this is a statement for all Guyanese. This statement today, with 2 fighter jets being allowed to fly, they ensured they said it, that they got permission from the government, which is the PPP. They got permission to fly over our capital city. They didn't want to go into Linden. They don't want to fly in a remote area. They want to fly over the capital of Guyana. And I would like every Guyanese to take note that as long as you give them that footing, there's a warning in place for you in the future. If you disrupt their mode of operation in reference to ExxonMobil and anything else, they have now the means through permission to threaten us. If, for example, at election time, Irfan Ali and Jagdi are dancing to the right tune, and they realize that the people don't want them there, you've now given them access to our airspace to threaten us. Remember, in 2020, they said, sanction Granger, sanction them. If they don't come out, sanction them. Today, it went beyond sanctioning them. It went to showing you that we have now the means to launch missiles at you if we have to do it. This is serious. And you can call me a conspiracy theorist if they want to call me that. But I have never, ever seen a day in this country where the U.S. fighter jets will fly over my city. That is an atrocity, and it must be dealt with for what it is. These people are sending a clear message to us. If you only kick up, we'll humble you all very quickly.
Apostle, we have Venezuela next door that is threatening us. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, I'm sure the first response when they heard of the fighter jets, they would see it as a deterrence against Venezuela. How do you figure that into your analysis?
I would never figure it into my analysis because you know very well that they would not risk any military action in Venezuela because of Russia and China. They know it. So this jet flying over Georgetown has to do with Venezuela. Because if you want to send a message to Maduro, fly over Bartica then. Fly over Rockstone. Go closer to what the area that they claim and say we're going to fly over Essequibo, even if it's Anna Regina, just to let you know that we are flying in the zone that you say is yours. That's a statement. But when you fly over the capital of a nation, it goes beyond a message to Venezuela. It's a message to me. Because central intelligence is found in the capital of any nation. So if they want to make a statement to Venezuela, fly over the territory Venezuela claims to be theirs. Then you can say, well, okay, then if you only try this now, we have means to get to you. They didn't do that. Because their message is clear to me. And I say again, that's why Granger is not the president today. Today announces to you why he wasn't there. This day in our history shows us why. Because they want to have access to us to do whatever they want to do to us. And it's just a mere threat. Or a means to say, listen, keep calm, quiet down, and play nicely. Because we have the means. And also we have the support of the PPP. Let's not miss that. I didn't hear Norton say that he was consulted with by Irfan and they agreed that, okay, then let's put Guyanese at ease. We're going to issue a joint statement to say we both agreed for this to happen. No, the PPP say come in here.
Mark Benschop?
Yeah. I recall as a little boy in the quarantine, coconut oil was the going thing. It wasn't official yet that Guyana has oil and all manner of things. And nobody was so concerned about coconut oil. People go out the back dam, the ladies sold their oil at Port Morant Market, Rosal Market, Corriverton Market, and so forth. Venezuela wasn't too concerned. Occasionally, they will just raise the bombs would raise, and then we will hear Guyana's national weapon, Nat Juan Corral, starts to play all over the radio station. The point is, nobody was concerned so much. Nobody was concerned so much about coconut oil. Now we have oil. Oil we have. Billions upon billions of dollars. And this oil has shown us all sorts of things at this point. Friends from all over the world. People so care. People so love Guyana. And people are in and out of Guyana. And even your own oil wealth. People digging the oil out of all your country. And the citizens of the country have to pay every single thing, all the expenses for the people who are rooting out, who are draining out the oil, your natural resources out of your country and sending everything, billions upon billions of dollars. You got to pay all the expenses for executives of Exxon when they fly in the country, when they fly out the country. They fly in the country with the mamu, the mami, the chachi, the chacha, the pua, and everybody into the country. All Guyanese taxpayers' dollars have to pay for that. Wherever these executives of Exxon go, the people of Guyana got to pay for that. So when we thought that slavery was abolished back in 1838, we were lying. Our ancestors, those who fought, those who built that country, they must be turning in their graves as of now. They are turning in their graves because that's not the Guyana that they sweat for. That's not the Guyana that they built. That's not the Guyana that they died for. And so when you look at where the country is right now, when you have flatfoot hustlers like Irfan Ali, because he is a flatfoot hustler, he doesn't know how to be anything better than a flatfoot hustler. You have someone who is known to be, based on allegations, a criminal like Barra Jack Dale, who loves to call other people a criminal and so forth and so on. When you have these kind of individuals, corrupt individuals in office, anything, you will see fighters jet, you will see big boats, soon you'll see boats flying and all manner of things. It is basically showing that Guyana has surrendered to bigger powers, especially ExxonMobil, that is running the country right now. And when we have politicians are afraid to stand up and tell ExxonMobil that you are wrong, that the people of Guyana deserve better. The people in Linden deserve better roads. The kids deserve better schools and labs. in all the schools, not the kitchen cabinet that Priya put up and say North Ramvelt Multilateral School or so. Oh, look at the lab. You had 23 years that you ignored all those schools in the country. And suddenly now you get a picture because you get your friend who's a carpenter decide to do it and giving them multi-million-dollar contract and see that as a success story. Our kids can't get proper transportation to go to school because of under the coalition, you got rid of the buses, you got rid of the boats, you got rid of the bicycles, you got rid of the free breakfast and all these sort of things. And you want to tell us that you care. And so therefore, the nation that was once patriotic have to look up into the skies and see fighter jets from another country circling your capital city to say, we are here to protect you because you have a government that has been installed, and we know that has been installed, that doesn't have the balls to stand up and defend itself. And so therefore, Jagdeo and Irfan should be charged with treason, not the ordinary citizens. It's a shame and a disgrace. Chedi Jagan is turning in his grave right now. And listen to a Nima Karam, a Katahar, a Korhi, a Chamar, a low-life like Bara Jagdeo has the audacity to sit as leader, as rigged as he rigged the election, to sit there as leader of the PPP and cuss out the son of Dr. Chedi Jagan and calling him an idiot and all manner of things. Everybody is an idiot to Bara Jagdeo. Everybody. And that is wrong. But they have something called karma. As we say in India, karma. Karma will visit these guys, and I'm hoping that karma will visit them very soon. They have brought wrath onto the nation. They have brought disgrace onto the nation. They have brought suffering upon the people on this nation. And the people, all of the people, have to stand up and say enough is enough. Of course, with their votes. Enough is enough. We are tired of this corrupt PPP regime.
Enough is enough. I would like to say thanks to all of you. Welcome, Hans Grove in the house. I know we forget Hans Grove, Eula Williams, Hans Grove in the house. I know lots of Hans Grovians are usually in the house, and I don't always acknowledge you all Hans Grove people. Hans Grove is a place when you go and play cricket as a small boy. When you win in Hans Grove, pack up your pads and your bat before the winning shot. Because you gotta run from deep inside there to road. Hans Grove is a deep village inside. And you gotta run. People just represent themselves there. My brother, Nigel London, your closing thoughts.
As always, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to sit here with you this evening, and most importantly, to share this platform with you and Mr. Benschop. I am always relieved when I see men being men and men being strong enough to say that which they have to say. I would like to close with informing everyone, including my brothers and sisters who are of Indian descent, Chinese descent, Portuguese descent, whatever descent you are. I must remind you that if I speak for my Africanness or to my Africanness, it doesn't mean I'm speaking against you.
That's right.
I have the right to love who I am first. And I have the right to love my ancestry first. The history of the African, of the Hebrew man, is unparalleled in this nation. There is no other group who's ever suffered as much as what is called the African. And by that right, we have a right to be louder than you when we feel the pain of those who are oppressing us. And worst, when it is not the white man, as you call him, who's oppressing us. Now it's those who came and stood beside the African slaves, the indentured servants who were taught by the Africans. We taught them many things, how to survive under the plantation struggle. And to know that day has arrived when their sons and daughters have become oppressors of the Africans. Permit us, not forgive us, permit us to speak to our heritage, to our history, and to our mere existence. You cannot say that I hate you if I love myself. Thank you for the time I spent with you.
And thank you, my brother. Every single word that came from your mouth there represent my feelings. You speak for me also. Every single word that cometh from your mouth. Mark Benschop, you have the last word.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know when was the last time I had the last word, but thank you for elevating me. Um, so, Dr. Hines, and of course, Apostle London, I appreciate your honesty, and we can see the passion. I do know that we speak on behalf of so many people out there. But briefly, my closing remarks is that the boycott is a legitimate tool. And again, I'm calling on folks to intensify the boycott. Look out for other businesses that are in bed with the oppressors. It doesn't matter their ethnicity. And this is not to say that you are going to boycott somebody's business because of their political affiliation. No, people can have a political affiliation that's different from yours or mine. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. But when you are going to brazenly embrace the oppressors, that is where I have a problem with. And I know a lot of you out there have a problem with that as well. So look around for those enablers. And if they have a business, boycott their business, whether it's in Brooklyn, whether it's in Queens, whether it's in New Jersey, whether it's in Atlanta, whatever business they have. If they are promoters, boycott their parties, boycott their boat rides. I'm not saying that all of the promoters and so forth, and I'm not saying that you know who they are. When it comes to Guyana, be careful where you spend your money. Be careful. Boycott those businesses that are embracing the oppressors to oppress you and make your community and members within your community lives miserable. Boycott those businesses. It's a legitimate tool. The government, the so-called government, has been boycotting businesses in Guyana. They have been boycotting businesses like 107.1 FM. They've been boycotting businesses like Channel 9 and others. And when we heard Bharat Jagde calling on his supporters to boycott the Kaitor News, to boycott Stabrook News, they thought that that was fine. And so they feel that they are the only ones who have the power to say people must boycott X, Y, and Z business. The time has come for men to grow some BALLS and stand up and tell Bharat Jagdev and Irfan what they need to hear. We can't just sit down and depend on Auntie Vashti or Auntie Data and so forth and so on. Women have been doing this more recently because it seems that the women are far more courageous than the men. Men, y'all stop hiding behind the keyboards and writing. Oh, yes, hail up. Y'all got to do more than just writing. Y'all got to take a position and y'all got to stand with us as well. Enough is enough. And again, I say good night. I know Rickford Burke might be watching. Good night to you, Rickford. Hope you're having a good night. Don't be afraid, Rickford. Do not be afraid to use the B word. Do not be afraid to say boycott. Boycott is boycott. Story done. Boycott.
Mark Benschop, and I know you'll all be going over to Mark in a couple of minutes.
Well,
Mark,
one second, Dr. Hines.
huh?
Oh, man. Tired, man. Oh, what?
Oh, you're tired. All right.
They're still looking for me.
Hey, Mark, it's always a pleasure to have you on this side of the microphone. As usual, Pastor London, you bring the energy that we always want on this program. Thank you all, brothers.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you, the audience. You all have been such wonderful people. Without you, there is no program. Keep coming, because we are doing this together. In the end, we shall overcome. And we are making it very clear here that we're not fighting one another in this struggle, but we want to hear from those who are coming and presenting themselves as leaders. We want to hear about all the other issues that you're interested in, but we want to hear where you stand with Black people. Are you for the murder of Black people? Are you for the kicking down of their homes? Are you for paying them slave wages? Say where you stand. Say where you stand tonight. Where you stand on the boycott. Where you stand on the boycott. Say where you stand. Don't mumble. Don't mumble. See you all tomorrow night. Same time, same place. Because as usual, we do say good night to Sherrod, I know you also have a couple of minutes with him. Say good night to him. And I'm going to see you all here tomorrow night.